A collision is an event in which two or more bodies exert forces on each other for a relatively short time. There are three main types of collisions. They are inelastic collision, elastic collision, and an actual collision. Perfectly inelastic collision occurs when the maximum amount of kinetic energy of a system is lost. In a perfectly inelastic collision, the colliding particles stick together. Kinetic energy is lost by bonding the two bodies together. When air resistance is present, the momentum can be transferred to the air. A good example of an elastic collision is when two vehicles from opposite directions collide and end up joining together and move in the same direction. An elastic collision occurs when the two objects bounce apart when they collide. In contrast to inelastic collisions, both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. When two billiard balls are hit with a cue, both will initially move from opposite directions. When they collide, they will bounce apart and move opposite from their initial directions. An actual collision is a collision in which kinetic energy is not conserved due to the action of internal friction. And lastly, the momentum is conserved. A bouncing basketball is an example of an actual collision. The coefficient of restitution, or COR, is the ratio of the final to initial relative velocity between two objects after they collide. It normally ranges from 0 to 1, where 1 would be a perfectly elastic collision and 0 would be a perfectly inelastic collision. However, a 0 value does not always have to indicate a perfectly inelastic collision. The formula of this collision is as follows. The relationship between the masses and the velocities of the moving bodies can be expressed by the following equation. The coefficient of restitution can be found by this formula. When the collision is based on height, the coefficient of restitution can be calculated as follows.